let's talk about some of the exotic food that I've come across in my travels. Now, there's in India. Oh, India has a huge menu and a variety of food, but the one that you are least likely to encounter is something called vindaloo, and that is it's kind of meat, isn't it? With very spicy. So you need what the Indians give you in a side plate is usually cucumber and yogurt. So when you have something very spicy and it's burning your mouth, you have cucumbers and sour cream with it. Okay. Swiss, they like something called fondue. If you've never had it, it's worth trying. It's melted cheese, and in that melted cheese you have a fork which you dip. You press the fork in either bread or meat or even chicken, and then you dip it in the cheese, which is melted and hot, and you eat it, and that's pretty good. So that's a Swiss specialty. Now in Mexico, I had something I didn't like too much, but I'll tell you about it anyway. They called it chicken mole. Apparently that was a dish for Aztec royalty. And it's basically chicken in a somewhat bitter chocolate sauce. Okay, maybe you like it. I didn't. But that's okay too. Let's see what else we got here. Belgian food. They're very famous for moules, which are black clams. And they serve the black clams, or moules. They're steamed, and then you take the shell, you break it, and you can dig out the clam meat with the with half the shell. Now I'm going to sit down on a rock here, and you can see a nice, cute little castle in the back. I hope. Whew. You see that nice castle? Move over a little so you don't have a shadow on me. Okay, how do you like that castle? And now, turn around, and you can see a Swiss train going by. Woo, there it goes. How about that? You don't see that every day. Nice scenery, isn't it? Now, can you see the castle up here? Very nice. Oh, now I go to Spain quite a lot. And here's something, albindongo soup. I hope I pronounced that right, albindongo. It's kind of a cream soup made with egg yolks and lemon. And dumplings, seems to be seafood or something, really delicious. Now all the stuff I've been telling you about, the wonderful thing today that wasn't around in my day 20, 30 years ago, is you can go to YouTube, put in the name of whatever it is you're thinking about and what stuff I've mentioned, like vindaloo, and guess what? Somebody who knows what they're doing, not only somebody, probably 20 different people will be cooking that particular dish. So I'm giving you hints on what you might want to think about and look for. So there was moules, there was bacalao, Israeli sweet and sour meatballs, Irish. Now, one of my absolute favorite foods are Irish, because I used to spend a lot of time in Dublin. And Irish stew is very easy to make. You get lamb. It doesn't have to be the best quality leg of lamb. It can be shoulder of lamb with the bone. You throw that in a pressure cooker with onion, carrots, and barley. Barley is the secret. And you put it in for about an hour with any other vegetable that you like, and you get Irish stew. Irish stew is absolutely delicioso. See, I'm speaking French again. Okay. Also in Ireland, something that's very popular is corned beef and cabbage. Now, I'm not even sure what corned beef is. It's kind of like a big piece of meat, beef of course, and I think it's pickled. It comes out red, and then it's very tough. Other countries may call it brisket of beef, but you boil that, and then in the last few minutes you put in a big chunk of cabbage, maybe a quarter of a cabbage head per person, and you can have a boiled potato or a baked potato, and corned beef and cabbage is a wonderful Irish meal. Okay, now we're going to talk Brazil. Okay, in Brazil, they have, if you go to a Brazilian restaurant, they have something called churrasco, and that is meat on a skewer that just keeps coming. It isn't like shish kebab. It's you'll get sausages, and you'll get slices of steak and pork chops and everything on a skewer, and it never seems to stop coming, and usually it's fairly reasonably priced too. So with that you get cheese balls. Now it isn't really all cheese, it's like a dough with a cheese in the middle. Pretty delicious. Now, one of the overlooked gourmet foods in the world is Peruvian. So if you go to a Peruvian restaurant, you can try almost anything there. It'll all be unique. The thing I remember most is called ceviche, which is kind of raw fish, but it's marinated in, liqueur or vinegar, and it's quite delicious. Polish food. Well, I think their favorite food is pierogi, which is kind of dumplings, and the Chinese equivalent is wonton, but Polish dumplings are totally different than Chinese dumplings. Finally, we're going to talk about two things: Greek cooking, which is much overlooked, and you can try a dish called moussaka. It's kind of layers of ground beef and something mashed. It's almost like mashed potatoes, but try that. German food. Well, I bet you never heard of choucroute garnie. That's the French word which they use in Alsace, which is a former German area. And choucroute garnie is kind of a mild sauerkraut with on the side different kinds of meat. So it may have smoked beef, it may have some sausages, some tongue. I like tongue, maybe you don't. Well, choucroute garnie has maybe 4 or 5 kinds of meat and mashed potatoes around a bed in the middle of sauerkraut. So try that. Have I overlooked anything? Japanese. Who can forget Japanese? Well, everybody knows about sushi and teriyaki and sukiyaki. I hope you know about it. And then there's another, well, my absolute favorite is, I guess it's called teriyaki, isn't it? It's shrimp or any seafood or even vegetables dipped in
tempura.
Tempura. My grandson says tempura is my all-time favorite, and he's right, because when you get to be my age, you forget, sometimes you even forget your name. But tempura is probably one of my, after roast beef, tempura would be my all-time favorite. It's a very delicate flour, and then it's French fried for a very short time, and it could be anything in it, like squid, round, or octopus maybe, which they call in some places calamari, or just vegetables. They have like zucchini can be made into tempura. So that's a very big favorite of mine. So finally, when I finish up, I should have mentioned in German, you go to a really good restaurant, they have something called Hirsch, which is deer or venison, and that is served with red cabbage. In German, they call it Rotkohl, and that it can either be with a boiled potato or a baked potato. And on that note, if we've covered our 15 minutes, I think I want to quit, and maybe my next topic I'll talk about women.